Good evening and welcome back. Here for you to review some Star Wars video games. So this time we're going to start with the one. So I grew up with a lot of Star Wars video games, from the NES up to basically now. And I'm going to start with the NES, work my way up, and we're going to start with the original Star Wars, based off The New Hope. Now, was this a bad game? No. By all means, it was not a bad game. Was it a hard game though? Yes. I will not argue. It was a hard game. But it was a lot of fun though. Love the music to the game. That it follows the storyline fairly well. And you have three playable characters of Luke, Han Solo, and Leia. Leia has a pretty good jump compared to Luke or Han. And of course, Han has that epic theme. Especially since the theme was basically from Empire Strikes Back, but the game's based off New Hope. But it was cool though. That was cool. It was just epic to hear that theme in 8-bit. It's basically Han and Leia's love theme, but it worked though when you played as Han Solo. And overall, it is kind of a strange game because you're basically on Tatooine. First, you go to this cave to get a gun, basically a blaster. Then you gotta drive the Sandcrawler to get R2-D2. And then you gotta go to this cave to find Obi-Wan Kenobi and get the lightsaber. And that's kind of an odd thing from the game is you have to meet Obi-Wan in a cave. Who thought of that? I'm still trying to figure that one out to this day. But overall, it is kind of fun there. Except for those flying insects that try to knock you off. But eventually, once you get there, then you go to the cantina, or basically Mos Eisley to the cantina to get Han Solo. And then you basically go around Mos Eisley, get to the hangar to get to the Millennium Falcon. And of course, collect some shields along the way. Because otherwise, that asteroid level is a pain without the shields. Let me tell you, that was probably one of the hardest levels in my life as a kid. It's flying around in the Falcon against the asteroids. And yeah, I used to have so much trouble with it till I learned about the shields. Then it became easier. But then when you get to the Death Star, it becomes a big maze. And confusing too, because where are you supposed to go? Hop on all these elevators. To go from one place to another. I mean, it's crazy. Then, of course, you got to take down the tractor beam, which is not so hard. Then, of course, somehow you get Leia, and then you get someone she becomes playable. And as a result, then you kill the garbage monster. And then you go to basically escaping, which, yeah, these rooms get a little harder because you gotta avoid spikes, you gotta avoid getting sucked up into anti-gravity. That was the hardest level for me. And yeah. Then, of course, it leads up to the Battle of TIE Fighters, Death Star Run. So yeah, fun game, just a bit on the hard side. But then you get to the next one, which is The Empire Strikes Back. This one has voiceovers. And in 8-bit, it sounded really good. Obi-Wan's voice was great, Darth Vader's breathing was great. Very accurate. For an 8-bit, it was great. But the level of difficulty in this one was actually a lot harder than the original one. Especially when you get to Dagobah. And you're trying to climb up these vines and all that, you always slip and always... That was always the point. That was like the only point I got to on that game. Farthest I got. Because it was just insane difficulty. But still good music. So overall, the NES games aren't that bad. They're actually pretty entertaining, to say the least. Great music. Are very faithful to the storylines of the Star Wars franchise. So yeah, overall, totally worth it. It was just a shame there was no Return of the Jedi game. That one would have been interesting. had they made that. But they never did, so there you go. Only 2 Star Wars games on the NES. That's all we got there. So thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe and comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon.